sometimes news in America amazes me, but this was just a couple of days ago. Caught my attention. Police in Britain, under their sweeping new anti-terrorism legislation, which was inspired by American legislation, everything in Britain is done basically with the permission of the Americans. President Bush recently said in regards to the invasion of Georgia, he was talking to Russia, he said, "This is the 21st century, and there are no puppet states." And everyone in the British administration said, "Yes, yes, George Bush is completely correct." Now, Britain has all these sweeping anti-terrorism legislation because they're very afraid of something like 9/11 happening in the United Kingdom. And the British Terror Police, this special crack squad, had done this raid, and they had taken a ski mask. Now, the thing about this ski mask is it's not particularly illegal at all. Ski masks are, they can be used for skiing, for example. But they had taken this ski mask because it said evil across the front. And the police decided that they had a very easy target here. But the thing about this particular ski mask is that it was a toy that comes with a board game about the absurdity of global terrorism and the response to it. There is a spinner in the center of the board. You can order it online. You spin it. The spinner is called the axis of evil. And at the start of the game, a random person is selected as the axis of evil, and for the duration of the game, has to wear a ski mask that says evil across the front so that no one in the game can forget who is evil. So the police had raided someone who took global terrorism seriously enough to buy a board game to make fun of it. And that was the best person that they could find to capture under their sweeping anti-terrorism legislation, which is all well and good. But they said the reason that they had taken this ski mask was because it could be used to conceal one's identity, or it could be used during the perpetration of an illegal act. Direct quote from the British Police Commissioner. Now, I don't want to startle the British Police Commissioner or force him to take my hand from me, but it's entirely possible to conceal your identity without a ski mask. And you can use almost anything while committing an illegal act. For example, if I had a potato, I could commit criminal copyright infringement while holding the potato. In itself, this does not imply that we should go after potato farmers as a solution to global piracy. But the great thing that I saw about this was in the British reports, the ski mask was referred to as a balaclava. Little quirk of British English versus American English. We have trucks, they have lorries. We have apartments, they have flats. They light fags on fire. That's not they call ski masks balaclavas. And they're kind of associated with bank robbers and movie terrorists, though not really suicide bombers so much. I've never actually seen a suicide skier be very successful at taking out anything much more than a little divot in a tree. But the balaclava, the reason it's known as a balaclava in England is because the British Army, during the Crimean War, they had gone to Crimea, which is just south of Russia. It's this little dangleberry hanging off of Ukraine. And it was really freaking cold. So they get all these local hats, including from the town of Balaclava. Balaclava was a little town that made hats that look exactly like what we now call ski masks. So the reason that the word balaclava and the style of hat came to English speakers was because the British Army, acting under orders from the British government, thought it was a perfectly legitimate thing to have while doing the work of proper, good, patriotic citizens. Which is why the government now sees perfectly fit to seize them from citizens who have them. But that was just one little quirk of history that I thought informed something you saw in the news. It's certainly not the only one. For example, right now, Olympics in a communist country. Russia has invaded one of their southern neighbors. There is an American political campaign going on. The freedom fighters are trying to expel the Russians from their country. People talked about boycotting the Olympics that were going on in the communist country. I don't know what it all means, but I am pretty darn sure that I am voting for Reagan in the next election. For those of you that don't know, in 1978, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. And the next Olympics was in Russia. We wound up sort of protesting it, going, do we want to go to an Olympics in a communist country? And the cycle seems to be repeating itself just a little bit. Now, some people may think I'm a little crazy for wanting to vote for Reagan in this election, but I come from Chicago, and I figure enough dead people have voted in elections out there that one ought to win it. Besides, it's Reagan. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, if you tell him he's dead, he'll just forget it. He still wants to be in it anyway.